Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Uria's Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we're talking about the spell Summon Celestial. We are giving this a C. It's meh. Okay spell, not great. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, so we are talking about a 5th level spell that is usable by clerics and paladins. That's it. And now a bard could get it in a way. There are some other classes that get it in a way, but it's available basically for clerics and paladins. One action, range of 90 feet, verbal, somatic, and material component, which is worth at least 500 gold pieces, which does not disappear when you use the spell. It lasts for an hour, and you have to concentrate on the spell. So you call forth, and this is very similar to all the other Tasha's Cauldron of Everything summon spells. Basically, you can take the celestial spirit verbiage out, and all the other stuff is the same. The only thing that really changes is it's a celestial, and the stat block changes. So you call forth a celestial spirit. It manifests in an unoccupied space you can see within range. It's corporal. You choose Avenger or Defender. Your choice determines the stat block. It disappears when it has 0 hit points or when the spell ends. It's an ally. In combat, it shares your initiative. It takes its turn immediately after yours. It obeys your commands. No action required by you. And if you don't tell it to do something, it takes the dodge action and uses its move to avoid danger. That's it. And then you can up the stat block if you cast it at a higher level. So if you upcast it. So what does the stat block look like? And all these stat blocks are just kind of mediocre. To be very honest, there are a lot other 5th level spells that are much better than this one. There's a lot other spells that a cleric or a paladin could be concentrating on than this spell. There's a couple of things in this one that are okay that you can use to kind of optimize this spell, but on its own, it's just kind of average. And I would rather be casting some of these other concentration spells or 5th level spells like Spirit Shroud. And a paladin is going to be 17th level trying to cast this 5th level spell versus a 9th level cleric. So there's much better things that a 17th level paladin can do than using their action to summon a mediocre celestial. All right, so let's look at it. It's large. It has an armor class of 11 plus the spell's level. So if you were to cast this at 5th level, it would be 16. If you chose a defender, it would be an 18. So an 18 is okay armor class. One of the big problems with stat blocks in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is the way that the creatures kind of level up or equal to the level of the party it doesn't really work statistically that great. So an 18 armor class is actually okay for a non-player character type of creature. It's got 40 hit points plus 10 for each level above 5th level. That sucks. I'm just going to be very honest. 40 hit points at the levels we're talking about that you can cast this spell. Those things can get taken out in a round very easily. This thing might last a round because of that. It's got a speed of 30, a fly speed of 40. To be honest, I think if it's a large celestial, it needs to have an 18 strength and a 16 dex. It should have an 18 con, maybe a 16 wisdom and a 16 charisma, or maybe an 18 charisma. That's another thing I don't like about the monster stat blocks are the ability scores are all very mediocre on average over most monsters, and they don't scale very well with the players. Damage resistance is radiant. It is immune to charm and frighten conditions. That's pretty good. It's got dark vision. It speaks celestial, and then it understands the languages you speak. It does have a challenge rating and proficiency bonus, which is equal to yours. That doesn't really matter. It gets a number of attacks equal to half the spell's level rounded down. So if you cast this at 5th level, it gets 2 attacks. If you cast it at 6th level, it gets 3 attacks. So if you choose the Avenger, which I would not suggest doing because this is the only thing the Avenger gets, you choose the Avenger, then it has a ranged weapon attack. It uses your spell attack modifier with that ranged weapon attack. Has a range of 150. It's a bow, basically, a radiant bow. And it does 2d6 plus 2 plus the spell's level. If you're casting it at 5, it's 2d6 plus 7 on a hit. It's probably going to have about a plus 8 or plus 9 to hit. It's going to be doing, on average, 12 points of damage per hit. So not fantastic. If it hits twice, 24 points of damage, that's okay at this level. That's pretty good. If you choose the Defender, and this is the main reason why you choose the Defender, it gets a melee weapon attack. It's got a radiant mace, so it's melee. It's in melee range, which is 5 feet. It does 1d10 plus 3 plus the spell's level, so that's 5.5 plus 8 if you cast it at 5th level, which is 13 points of damage on average per hit, and the Celestial can choose itself or another creature can see within 10 feet of the target, and that chosen creature gains 1d10 temporary hit points. So as long as this thing can hit something and do damage, it gets an infinite number of, well, it's not infinite. It gets a number of temporary hit points it can give out equal to 1d10 every time it hits. Both of them have Healing Touch. This is kind of blah. It's once a day. I really wish this was like 3 times a day or 4 times a day. Once a day is just not great. Touches another creature. It can magically regain hit points equal to 2d8 plus the spell's level. That's equal to like 13 points on average. So, I'm sorry, 14 points. It's 14 points on average. A d8 is a 4.5, so that'd be 9 plus 5 is 14. You wouldn't really use this unless it was a dire emergency and you needed to. So, all in all, this has got a pretty steep cost of 500 gold pieces. It's going to take your concentration away from important things like Spirit Shroud. And it does a few cool things. I think the Defender is much better than the Avenger. One thing I do want to point out with the Defender is because every time it hits, it can choose a target to give temporary hit points. If you've got somebody who can conjure animals and conjure a whole bunch of CR 1/4 beasts, and it can basically just sit in the back of the party with everybody and whack the beasts, then you're going to give out a whole bunch of temporary hit points when you need them. So there is that. It doesn't say it has to hit an enemy. It just has to hit. So that's it. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.